I'm Andriette Piron. Kenworthy board member Joanne Trail conceived of the idea to present a special award to two incredible people. The award is the Kenworthy Players Award, and the people are Ruth and Dean Vanderwall. And play they have! Ruth and Dean have been playing on the Palouse for over 60 years. They were the driving force behind the Pullman Community Theater, for over 50 years presenting more than 80 dinner theater productions. Ruth is an actor, director, and producer, and Dean always at her side as a co-producer, set designer, stage manager, and everything else. You know Ruth and Dean. If you haven't played with them on stage, you may have danced with them in the Palouse Dance Club. Or if you haven't danced with them, maybe you've sung with them in the Washington, Idaho Symphony Chorale, where Ruth sang contralto and Dean sang bass for over 20 years. Or at the Episcopal Church in Pullman, where Dean was the organist for over 30 years. If you haven't sang with them, maybe you've worked with them on an arts board, perhaps the Idaho Repertory Theater Board. And if you haven't yet met them, you will tonight.
Goldie, do you love me?
Do I love you? I wash your clothes and I fix your food and I raise your kids and I... Do I love you? I guess I do. How we stood ourselves, each other, all these years, I don't know. Partly because we've each had our activities. Of course, we've always sung together, and a good many of our activities, singing, choir, and eyewash, and all of that sort of stuff. We love orchestras, so we hit all the orchestras. And now the thing that brought us together when we married were the things that are keeping us together now.
Of course, that is how we met.
Yeah, we met through music. And then he came down and he accompanied for them at the Pease Conservatory where I was studying voice. And I had been signed up with Feld's studio, the violin one, because I wanted to keep busy while I was there. I was in war work at the Signal Depot. And we met in the church, and he played my first solo for me, accompanied my first solo, and after that we kind of hung out together, I think they call it now.
Well, we were still creating scenes once, well, even from the beginning. Even with the dinner theater, you still had to set up some kind of a set. But when we moved out of dinner theater, then you had to actually have walls on the stage and things. So if you were in a church basement, for instance, the fabric store in Spokane supplied all kinds of fabric, including this shirt.
It's called Alaska Junk.
In order to make screens and decorate with. And so I was able to create the sets and construct them and see to it that people did what they had to do with it.
So you were the decorator and scene designer?
Yeah. We made this shirt because he had a beautiful Russian
It's
green.
not Russian, dear. It's Nehru. It's India.
Okay, Nehru, but it looked Russian to me. Anyway, and with the same collar and everything, so we had to make this shirt out of that material that we found because we kind of like the style on him. Russian. Anyway.
Your geography is a miss, dear.
Oh, it's not my geography. It's my eyes. It looked Russian to me.
At Michigan, the quad around that was surrounded by the fraternities and sororities was flooded as an ice skating rink during the winter. So we decided one day to go ice skating.
He decided. I had never ice skated.
That's what I mean. And so we got out there and went skating. Well, fraternity houses usually have some kind of mascot. And one of the mascots discovered her because I had just given her a fancy-tailed woolen cap and woolen gloves and a scarf.
Lambskin, genuine lamb.
The dog decided that those were his playthings.
Here am I.
A Great Dane.
With my gloves up here, the dog's paws here, and his head and big tongue hanging down here. And all of those kids standing around laughing their silly heads off, and I was on ice skates, and I was wobbling, shall we say. Nobody was helping me because they were enjoying the show.
mascot always could put on a good show.
That-
Well, I didn't know what that dog was going to do. That tongue was hanging down. I thought he was going to sloop me up, you know. And he, of course, had said, no, he didn't skate very well, so sure, we'd learn together. So the first thing he does is go sailing over these barrels they have out, and then going on sailing over another barrel. And I thought, have I married a man that is kind of loose with the truth? I mean, you know, it shakes your confidence.
Well, needless to say, I'm the new kid on the block compared to the Vanderwalls. I've only been here 3.5 years, but they have been ubiquitous and joy-inspiring in my life in and about the towns here since I got here. I mean, good Lord, they've been here for 60 years. They've been married for 62 years. Our standing joke at restaurants and plays and concerts always is, how did they ever let the two of you in here? Because they're everywhere. Everywhere you go, that's where the Vanderwalls are there. I've had nothing but pleasant conversations with them at intermissions, just recently at the Auditorium Chamber Music, first concert of this season.
Well, I tell you, this year you're not going to say it's everywhere because they put 4 things on every night. Like Festival Dance is Tuesday, Auditorium Series is Tuesday, a beautiful cello thing is Tuesday night, and there's one other thing.
7, 7:30, and 8 o'clock.
Oh, but till 4 o'clock. He's been invited to a library party at 4 o'clock. Now, just figure out how we're going to do that. We've decided to go to the Auditorium Series. I just don't want to miss that first performance of theirs. That's one of the best things that happened to Moscow.
I can hardly imagine anybody from our larger community who more deserves this reward. You have contributed so much to our communities, both in terms of drama, you, Ruth, and in terms of music, you, Dean. I can't imagine that there are many others who have had such a long career of enriching the Palouse. I have particularly enjoyed getting to know you, Dean, in recent years when you and Ruth have been coming to the chamber music concerts, and I always enjoy our conversations afterwards. You are a wealth of knowledge and information about music and interesting insights, and so that has been fun. Again, congratulations to both of you.
I would say of the 85 productions that I directed for theater arts at University of Idaho and Idaho Repertory Theater, I would be very surprised if Ruth and Dean missed one of them. They are the most consistent supporters of the arts that I think I have ever known, in Pullman, in Moscow, any time of day. If it's an art event, if it's music, theater, opera, you name it, they'll be there, they'll be supporting it. Ruth's many years directing the community theater in Pullman was yeoman service beyond the pale. If two people deserve to be recognized for their support to the arts, it's Ruth and Dean.
They're both faithful readers at the Sunday Shakespeare readings that I do. The very first one she came to, she was reading The Nurse in Romeo and Juliet, and her big scene was coming up, and I was running out of time on the session, so I cut the scene, and she's never forgiven me for that. But she read Eleanor and John, and Dean reads too. He comes all the time. I'm almost sad I'm not doing them again this year because I'm going to miss that experience with the two of them. And I've also told other people when we're talking about various things in the arts and they want the history of what's going on, I said, check with the Vanderwalls. She knows where all the bodies are buried. So this honor is long overdue, and from me personally as well as from the town and the Kenworthy, congratulations and lives well and fully lived. Good.
Ruth and Dean, you are pure magic. You're the kind of people other people would like to be.